In this video, we're diving into the ever-evolving electoral map for the 2024 presidential election, focusing specifically on the competitive landscape as we analyze the potential race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. As we get closer to Election Day, it's crucial to understand how the dynamics of key battleground states are shaping the outlook for both candidates. With 270 electoral votes needed to win, the strategies and strengths of each candidate will play a significant role in determining who ultimately prevails. So, let's break it all down and see how this election is shaping up. Let's start with Virginia. This state has historically leaned Democratic, but recent trends indicate it might be more competitive than in previous cycles. In the last election, Joe Biden won Virginia by a comfortable 10-point margin, which solidified its reputation as a blue state. However, current forecasts suggest that Kamala Harris might not have the same level of support. Instead of enjoying a significant lead, her victory margin is expected to shrink to around 5 points, highlighting a growing This shift signals a need for Harris's campaign to be vigilant in maintaining their base support. Several factors are contributing to this tighter race. Notably, Virginia experienced a political shift when Republicans regained the governorship in 2021, signaling to many that the GOP is making inroads with voters in the region. This development is alarming for Democrats, as it indicates that the once reliable blue state could be turning more purple. Harris is still projected to win Virginia, but the narrowing margin compared to Biden's performance in 2020 raises concerns about the stability of the Democratic hold in the state. This transformation reflects a broader trend where traditionally blue states are becoming battlegrounds, demanding increased attention and effort from Democratic candidates. Moving on to Colorado and New Mexico, two other states where Biden performed exceptionally well in 2020, projections suggest that Harris may not replicate his success. Biden won Colorado by a significant 14 points and New Mexico by approximately 11 points. However, Harris is expected to see much closer contest in both states, with victory margins likely dipping below 7 points. These states, which once felt secure for Democrats, are now leaning toward a more competitive landscape. Harris's struggles to connect with voters who previously supported Biden may signal deeper issues for her campaign. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. It's essential for Harris to mobilize her base in these states effectively to hold on to these electoral votes. Although they are still categorized as likely blue, the shrinking margins indicate a vulnerability that Democrats cannot afford to ignore. The challenges Harris faces in these traditionally Democratic strongholds suggest a need for her campaign to implement targeted outreach strategies to ensure continued support from key demographics. Next, let's discuss Minnesota, a critical state for Harris as she seeks to build her electoral count. Historically, Minnesota has been a stronghold for the Democratic Party, having voted blue in every presidential election since 1972. However, the state has become increasingly competitive in recent years, with Trump nearly flipping it in 2016. He lost to Hillary Clinton by a mere 1.5, a result that caught many Democrats off guard. In 2020, Biden won Minnesota by a more comfortable 7-point margin, but the narrow victory still raises alarms about the Democratic Party's hold in the region. Securing Minnesota is a must for Kamala Harris. Her decision to choose Tim Walz, the sitting governor of Minnesota, as her running mate is a strategic move that could bolster her chances significantly. Walz's popularity among Minnesota voters gives her campaign a crucial local advantage, but Harris cannot take this state for granted. Without Walz on the ticket, her chances would diminish substantially. Current projections suggest that Harris will win Minnesota, but her margin of victory is expected to be tighter than Biden's in 2020. If she fails to outperform Biden in this crucial state, it would signal troubling signs for her campaign. After examining Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico, and Minnesota, we see that Kamala Harris is projected to start with 226 electoral votes. While this is a solid foundation, it leaves her with significant work to do to reach the required 270. To secure the presidency, she will need to focus on a few key battleground states that will ultimately determine the outcome of the election. Now let's shift our attention to Donald Trump's side of the electoral map. We'll start filling in some of the likely red states. One of the first we should mention is Maine's 2nd Congressional District. This district is unique because Maine allocates its electoral votes based on congressional districts rather than awarding all of them to the statewide winner. Trump has successfully carried this district in both 2016 and 2020, and he is expected to win it again in 2024. While it only accounts for a single electoral vote in such a close election, every vote is critical. Thus, it's classified as likely red, reinforcing Trump's standing. Next up are Alaska and South Carolina, two states that have consistently leaned Republican in presidential elections. Alaska, despite some speculation about its competitiveness, remains solidly in Trump's column. South Carolina has also historically been a Republican stronghold, but it may not be as firmly in Trump's camp as before. Nevertheless, he is still favored to win there, contributing to his overall electoral count. These two states add 12 electoral votes to Trump's total, further solidifying his path to victory. Now let's move to the Midwest, where we find two crucial states, Ohio and Iowa. Both states voted for Barack Obama in 2012, but they flipped to Trump in 2016 and remained in his column in 2020. Trump won both states by significant margins, and while some predicted Biden might improve on those numbers, the reality has shown Trump maintaining a strong hold. Currently, Trump is projected to win Ohio and Iowa again in 2024, and both states are classified as likely red. Together, they contribute another 18 electoral votes to his total, further solidifying his electoral base. Turning our gaze back to the Sun Belt, we cannot overlook the pivotal roles of Texas and Florida. Together, these two states hold a whopping 70 electoral votes, making them essential for any Republican candidate's strategy. Trump carried both states in 2020, winning Texas by 6 points and Florida by 3. However, the political climate in these states has shifted since 2016. In Texas, while Trump's lead has narrowed somewhat, he is still expected to secure the state. In Florida, he is predicted to expand his margins, with some projections indicating he could win by as much as 7 points, which would be a significant gain compared to previous elections. With both Texas and Florida leaning in Trump's favor, he is positioning himself strongly as he approaches the critical 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. As of now, Trump is projected to hold 219 electoral votes, just 7 behind Harris. This close race sets the stage for a high-stakes battle, as the remaining battleground states will determine who walks away victorious. Now, let's discuss the key battleground states that will play pivotal roles in the election. These are the states classified as tilt and lean states, where the race becomes even more competitive. Starting with Arizona and Georgia, both are leaning in Trump's direction. Arizona, which voted blue in 2020, saw Biden win by just 0.31. This was a significant victory, marking a shift in a state that hadn't gone for a Democrat since 1996. However, current projections show Trump with a 60-60 chance of reclaiming Arizona in 2024, as his lead in the polls has grown, moving the state from a toss-up to lean red. Georgia is another key battleground. Biden's narrow victory here was historic, as the state hadn't supported a Democratic presidential candidate since 1992. Currently, Trump holds a lead with a 63% chance of winning, indicating a shift back toward Republican dominance. The fact that both Arizona and Georgia are becoming more favorable to Trump underscores his campaign's effectiveness in regaining support in states that were once solidly blue. Finally, we reach the 5 states categorized as tilt states: Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. These states are critical in determining the election's outcome and are projected to be highly competitive. Nevada has leaned Democratic since 2004, and Kamala Harris is currently projected to have a slight edge, although Trump is not far behind, making it a potential battleground. At this point, Nevada is classified as tilt, but its status could change, depending on voter sentiment in the coming months. North Carolina is crucial for Trump's campaign strategy. Having won this state in both the 2016 and 2020 elections, projections indicate he is likely to secure it again. North Carolina has shown a tendency to lean Republican, and it's currently categorized as tilt. Winning North Carolina is essential for Trump to maintain his path to victory. Turning our attention to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. These three states were instrumental in Trump's victory in 2016, and they flipped to Biden in 2020. Pennsylvania is particularly critical, with 19 electoral votes up for grabs. Currently, Trump is leading in Pennsylvania, which would significantly boost his electoral total and likely propel him past the 270-vote threshold. Similarly, Wisconsin and Michigan are battlegrounds, where Trump remains a formidable contender, despite Harris's slight advantages in some forecasts. In conclusion, the current electoral projections reveal a competitive landscape, with Donald Trump appearing to be on a trajectory toward victory, projected to achieve 281 electoral votes compared to Kamala Harris's estimated 257. This forecast suggests a narrow yet decisive win for Trump, indicating that he has regained significant ground since the last election. However, with several weeks left until Election Day, the contest remains fluid, and both candidates will be laser-focused on the critical battleground states. As we draw closer to the election, keep your eyes on these pivotal states: Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, because they will likely decide the election. The dynamics of this race could change rapidly, and every single vote will matter. Thank you for joining me today for this thorough analysis. If you found this breakdown informative, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights and updates as we get closer to the 2024 election. Stay tuned, because the political landscape is constantly evolving, and we'll be here to keep you informed every step of the way.